Now.
And thanks for joining us tonight. Well, Thunder players got quite the surprise this morning when they arrived in Chicago, finding this massive dent on the nose of their plane. Delta tells us a bird likely struck the plane during the flight. News 9's Jesse Mitchell spoke with aviation experts about the likelihood of that happening. Jesse, what'd you find out?
Chris, we all know winter is coming. That means migration season for birds. Pilots tell me that
on the way. Details here coming up.
Thank you, Justin. Well, the budget stalemate drags on even after a Saturday at work. State lawmakers met briefly today, but didn't publicly have any movement towards fixing the fiscal crisis. News 9's Aaron Brilbeck is covering the Capitol. Thanks, Aaron. Well, an agreement between a major insurance company and the Prague Hospital will continue for now. We've told you about the ongoing negotiations with Blue Cross Blue Shield. This week, a Tulsa judge issued an order to stop the termination of the agreement, which was set to expire tomorrow. That's when Blue Cross members would have had to either go somewhere else, pay more, or switch insurance carriers. You got to see this. Caught on camera, an Oklahoma high schooler punched several times during a classroom fight. This happened in Ardmore. The boy being punched is 15-year-old Christian Butcher. His mother says she didn't see the video until recently. Christian admits the fight started because he used vulgar words against the other boy's family. But his mother says Christian has mental issues and the situation could have been handled differently.
He was sitting down and did not do anything. He got basically sucker punched without even knowing it was coming.
And continuously hit.
Police say charges will not be filed because the school district has already punished the other boy, but they won't say how. Christian's parents plan to meet with the superintendent on Monday. And more people in Oklahoma are dying from impaired driving crashes not involving alcohol. The Governor's Highway Safety Association found that so-called drugged driving has surpassed drunk driving when it comes to deadly accidents. Now, drug-related crashes have increased by over 120% in the past 2 years. 134 people died in these type of crashes on Oklahoma roads last year. And taking it around the nation, tensions high in 2 Tennessee towns, hosting several White Lives Matter rallies today. Counter-protesters showed up in both Murfreesboro and Shelbyville. The main group behind the white nationalist rallies, called the League of the South, was one of the groups that marched in Charlottesville 2 months ago.
That this is not representative of Tennessee, and that we have to connect what's happening here to what's happening at the Capitol. As I said yesterday, that these white supremacists have been welcomed here by our state lawmakers who pass anti-refugee legislation, anti-immigrant legislation.
Many businesses closed today because of the rallies. And an indictment in the investigation of Russian meddling in the presidential election could become public as early as Monday. The federal grand jury hearing evidence pertaining to special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation has approved the first criminal charges. The question is whether anyone connected to President Trump colluded with the Russian government. Today, the president's former campaign manager downplayed the charges.
The speculation is so insane right now. What we should be focusing on are the continued lies of the Clinton administration, the continued fallacies that they perpetuate.
President Trump himself has called the investigation a witch hunt. And around the world to Africa, a standoff situation is going on right now after a truck bomb attack near a hotel in the capital of Somalia. Police say the attackers drove up to the building pretending their pickup broke down. After the blast, the suspect went inside the hotel. We're told at least 23 people have died and at least 20 more are thought to still be trapped inside the building. Jane Pauley is famous for her career in journalism. 1 year ago this month, she took another step forward, achieving something no other woman in journalism had before.
I am honored beyond words to follow in your footsteps.
Becoming the first woman to host CBS Sunday Morning is her latest step in her legendary career. She says what's happened behind the camera is what's helping her make the biggest difference in others' lives. Tomorrow night, we'll hear exclusively from Jane Pauley about her diagnosis that changed her life. News 9 and Bob Mills Furniture are saluting Oklahoma's finest as Veterans Day approaches. Right now, you can nominate a veteran you know. Just send us a photo and we'll mention them on air. To learn more, just go to our website. You can nominate a deserving veteran through November 7th. And still to come here on News 9, 31 costumes in 31 days. Carl Torp introduces us to a very crafty local mom in our Red Dirt Diaries.
On the scene, on the story, this is News 9.
Halloween is just a few days away. Chances are, if you're a parent, you already have your kid's costume ready. But if you don't, a Metro Mother will give you plenty of ideas. Carl Torp shows us more in this week's Red Dirt Diaries.
Oklahoma City, Carl Torp, News 9.
So you don't have to spend a fortune on a costume. Well, we're always looking for unique Oklahomans and places. If you have a great story to tell, go to news9.com/Red Dirt Diaries and tell us about it. Moving on, some law enforcement artifacts from the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office go on public display for the first time. The Oklahoma History Center showed off the collection earlier today. Those artifacts include a sheriff's ledger that recorded the first execution in the state back in 1895. The public also got to check out a jail riot shotgun and vintage deputy uniforms. Meanwhile, real-life superheroes were celebrated at the Boathouse District. Local police, firefighters, military members, and first responders met with kids during Superhero Saturday. The Devon Boathouse also hosted free tours led by the rowing team's Olympic hopefuls. A good day to be out, not as chilly as it was earlier this week, but there is still some chill to come, huh?
Yeah, it was cold out. Chris, it was cold out there this morning. We had teens and 20s for lows. So a little breezy for the kids. I'm sure nobody got in the water here today.
Oh,
Hopefully
no.
not. As some warmer days are ahead. We're not stuck in winter quite yet. We still have some 70s, maybe an 80 in the 9-day forecast. That'd be nice, right?
But winter is coming.
Yeah, winter is coming. That's right. You know, Game of Thrones there. As we're looking